The two-decade conflict in Afghanistan left deep scars on the United States military, with over 2,400 lives lost and more than 20,000 soldiers wounded by bullets, bombs, and improvised explosive devices, IEDs. Yet, one soldier's injury defied all logic of combat survival. Specialist Channing Moss wasn't hit by shrapnel. He was struck by the weapon itself, and miraculously, he lived to tell the extraordinary tale. Born and raised in Georgia, Moss came from a long line of warriors. His grandfather served in World War II, his uncle in Korea, and his father in Vietnam. Moss was no exception. He donned the uniform of the United States Army right after graduating from West Hall High School. He was assigned to the esteemed 10th Mountain Division, a light infantry unit trained to operate in harsh terrains like snow, jagged rocks, and high altitudes. Precisely the environment Afghanistan is renowned for. On March 16, 2006, Moss, then a private first class, was part of a convoy from Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, 87th Infantry Regiment. Their mission was a routine diplomatic meeting with tribal leaders in southeastern Afghanistan near the Pakistani border. The sky was clear, perhaps too clear. Winter was drawing to a close, and in this part of the world, spring signaled one thing: fighting season. As the snow melted and roads opened, insurgents would emerge. The convoy, consisting of 5 Humvees and a pickup truck carrying Afghan National Army soldiers, was forced to navigate slowly through narrow, dry riverbeds or wadis, enclosed by steep, towering hills on all sides. This was classic ambush territory, and the Taliban knew it. Suddenly, gunfire erupted from the hills. The sharp, dry crackle of AK-47s echoed all around them. Moss, operating the top-mounted machine gun on his Humvee, immediately returned fire towards the ridges. But it was a shooting gallery, and the convoy was the direct target. They needed to move, and fast. However, as they hit the gas to escape the kill zone, something far more terrifying than bullets came hurtling towards them. It was an RPG, short for rocket-propelled grenade, commonly known as a rocket launcher. The weapon used that day was an RPG-7, a Soviet-designed munition from the 1960s known for being cheap, deadly, and constantly circulated across war zones. Its warheads are capable of destroying tanks, helicopters, bunkers, and, indeed, Humvees. The insurgents launched a volley of them. One rocket struck the Afghan pickup truck, killing 2. Another slammed into the windshield of Moss's vehicle, almost decapitating Staff Sergeant Eric Wynn in the front seat. Then the unthinkable happened. Moss felt the impact. At first, he thought he'd been thrown against the truck. He tried to return fire, but then noticed something odd. Smoke was coming from himself. "I thought I got slammed up against the truck, and I went to return fire again. Then I smelled something smoking, and I looked down, and it was me smoking." Wynn turned around and froze. A live RPG was sticking out of Moss's body. The warhead had pierced through Moss's left hip, ripped through his pelvis, and was protruding from his right thigh. A 3-foot-long explosive device remained intact, and it hadn't detonated yet. The RPG-7's warhead has a kill radius of approximately 30 feet, about 9 meters. Inside the Humvee were 4 soldiers. One explosion would have obliterated everyone, but fate intervened. Also in the Humvee was 23-year-old medic, Specialist Jared Angel. Without hesitation, he sprang into action. He quickly stabilized Moss, packed the wounds, and kept the rocket as still as humanly possible. One wrong move could trigger the detonator. Moss remained fully conscious throughout. Angel leaned close and quietly said, "I'm going to do everything I can. You keep fighting with me, I'll keep fighting with you." An emergency airlift was called in, but no one mentioned the live RPG protruding from Moss. Military regulations are crystal clear. You absolutely do not transport live ordnance. However, when the helicopter landed and the crew saw Moss's condition, they didn't hesitate. Crew Chief Christian Roberts made the bold decision, "We're not going to leave an American soldier to die in the middle of Afghanistan." With incredible care, they loaded Moss aboard and took off, essentially carrying a flying bomb. They arrived at the Oregon aid station. Moss's case was handed over to surgeons Major Kevin Kirk and John O., along with explosive ordnance disposal technician Sergeant Dan Brown. An X-ray revealed a miracle. The main explosive charge had detached. What remained inside Moss was only the detonator charge. Still dangerous, but slightly less catastrophic. Major O breathed a sigh of relief until Brown added, "That means we won't die. We'll just lose our hands." O stared at him. "You know we're surgeons, right?" "Yeah," Brown replied. "I understand that." Brown donned body armor, grabbed a hacksaw, and very gently cut off the RPG's tail fins. Then, facing the detonator towards his own chest, hoping his armor would absorb the blast if it went off, he slowly pulled the warhead free from Moss's body. No boom. He ran outside to a secure pit and detonated it. Major O would later say, "That was the loudest sound in my whole life." With the immediate danger gone, the surgeons repaired what they could. Moss had lost large portions of his intestines. He was flown to Germany, then to Walter Reed Medical Center in the U.S. By his side were his wife, pregnant at the time, and their young daughter. Moss endured multiple surgeries. He learned to walk again with a cane. His left leg would never be the same, but he survived. Eventually discharged from the Army, Moss attended college and built a career helping fellow veterans. He became a husband, a father, and a symbol of resilience. Years later, reflecting on that day in Afghanistan, Moss said, "I'm not supposed to be here. A lot of us shipped out from boot camp and didn't come back. Thank God I'm still here." Those were humble words from a man who took a direct hit from a rocket designed to destroy tanks and lived.